Daniel learned very early that hunger doesn't always scream. Sometimes, it sits quietly inside you, pretending everything is normal. For Daniel, hunger was never an emergency. It became his routine. Every night, as the city lights faded one by one, Daniel lay down on a thin mattress on the floor. His stomach growled like an old engine that never rested. He learned to ignore the sound, because no one was coming to help. Daniel grew up in a home where silence meant survival. His father left when Daniel was only 7 years old. His mother worked 2 cleaning jobs. When she came home, her body was exhausted, her hands cracked and swollen. She never complained. She only smiled and said, "We'll be okay." But okay often meant going to bed without dinner. At school, Daniel stayed away from lunch lines, not because he wasn't hungry, but because he didn't want anyone to notice how fast he ate. He drank water before meals to dull the pain in his stomach. When classmates talked about weekend trips and new shoes, Daniel nodded quietly. He pretended he belonged in their world. At night, under a flickering light bulb, he studied. The books were borrowed, and he kept telling himself, "Education is my way out." But believing something doesn't make it easy. Some days, hunger made his head feel heavy. The words on the page blurred together. Some nights, he fell asleep imagining food. Warm bread, a full plate, a meal without fear of the last bite. Years passed like this, quiet, invisible, unnoticed. After high school, Daniel dreamed of college. But reality hit hard. Tuition was impossible. Even application fees felt like mountains. So Daniel did what he had always done. He adjusted. Construction sites, night shifts at gas stations, delivery jobs, anything that paid cash. Most days, he ate once. Some days, not at all. People saw him as just another tired worker. No one knew he skipped meals to send money home. No one knew he wore the same jacket year after year, because replacing it meant less food. But hunger wasn't the hardest part. The hardest part was watching his life shrink. One winter evening, after a 14-hour shift, Daniel sat at a bus stop. His hands were numb from the cold. Across the street, a restaurant window glowed warm and bright. Inside, people laughed, their plates full. Daniel looked at his reflection in the glass. Tired eyes, hollow cheeks. A man who was surviving, but not living. That night, something broke inside him. Not loudly, whisper, but deeply. He realized that waiting for someday was slowly killing him. The next morning, Daniel made a decision that terrified him. He quit his job. Everyone told him he was foolish. People would kill for steady work. You can't afford risks. They were right, but Daniel also knew this. He couldn't afford to stay invisible forever. With no savings and no safety net, he bought an old laptop from a pawn shop. He used free internet at the public library. And he began learning a skill he had always been curious about. The first weeks were brutal. Failures, confusion, rejection after rejection. Some nights, he went to bed hungry again, wondering, "Did I make the biggest mistake of my life?" But this time, hunger felt different. It wasn't hopeless. It was temporary. Months passed. One small job, then another. $20, $50, $100. The first night Daniel bought groceries without counting every dollar. He stood in the kitchen and cried, not because he was rich, but because for the first time in years, he felt free. Today, Daniel's life isn't perfect. He isn't famous. He isn't wealthy. But he eats when he's hungry. He works on his own terms. And he knows his worth. He learned something hunger never teaches. Sometimes the scariest decision is the one that saves your life. And sometimes, surviving is not enough.